and salutations, creature lovers, and welcome to this first milestone episode of No More Room in Hell presents Creature Comforts. Of course, we're talking about episode 50. We have now been together for 4+ years. Very proud to say that we've never missed a month. And of course, longtime listeners know that this is technically episode 51, since we did do one unnumbered episode a couple of years ago when Derek couldn't join us for an episode. Don and myself, obviously, we did that Fantasia Film Festival episode a couple of years ago where we looked at some kaiju movies that had just been released. So I'm still going to count it as the numbered 50th episode. So before we get into our topic of discussion for this episode, let me go ahead and introduce my cohorts. Of course, coming to us from the main show, No More Room in Hell, it is Mr. Derek B. How you doing, Derek?
Hey, yo, I got my Arizona fruit punch. I'm ready to be the bad guy of this episode.
I love it. And of course, coming to us from Fresh Cuts, it is Mr. Don Anelli. How you doing, Don?
Yeah, what's going on? Always happy to be here.
All right, folks. Well, obviously, for our first milestone episode, we wanted to do something a little bit special, but we didn't want to just bust out with like favorite creature features or favorite kaiju movies, or, some of those lists are they're going to need a lot more research. And it's the kind of thing where I'd rather save those for some of the bigger milestone episodes, episode 100, episode, 200, blah, 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 blah. So for episode 50, actually, Derek came up with this idea, and I actually really liked it. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the mic over to Derek, and he's going to introduce our topic for this episode. Go ahead, Derek.
Yeah, we're just going to be doing a random top 5 of our favorite monster designs.
Yes, I love this idea. And originally, Derek actually thought about breaking it down by era. And honestly, I actually thought that might be a little bit harder, just because some decades are so loaded with great monster designs. I'm looking at you, 80s. So it almost would have been more difficult for me to do that. Whereas a top 5, just favorite of all time, just comes off as a little bit easier because, my top 5, these are the designs that have stuck with me the most, that, I return to, that I absolutely love. Obviously, we're only doing a top 5. And again, like Derek said, we are just doing creature/monster designs. We're not necessarily commenting on the movie. So the movie that our particular creature comes from may not necessarily appear on our top 10 favorite creature features. So keep that in mind. And of course, as with any podcast doing a top 5 or a top 10, a list show, these are, of course, subjective lists. These are our favorites. I'm not claiming that the 5 creature designs on my list are literally the best ever. No, of course, what I am saying is that these are my 5 favorite creature designs. And before we get into our number 1, I'll leave a little bit of time for some honorable mentions, as is usually the case with list shows. So let's just go ahead and get right into the festivities. And let's go ahead and start with the man who gave us the idea, Mr. Derek B. So Derek, why don't you come on in here with your number 5 favorite creature design?
Actually, my fucking number 5 is kind of probably a very basic one, but just the way that it was used in the movie. And that is, of course, 1979's Alien with the Xenomorph, the original, which, I just love like this whole thing. It kind of goes into like later on in like the Tremor movies too, where it starts out as phases. And I kind of dig that about this. It goes from egg to fucking this face hugger to this giant blank thing. And it's terrifying to look at, especially if you look at some of the figures for this thing where you can see like the skull feature, which you couldn't really see in like a VHS, but it kind of dig it in like some of the prosthetic arts and stuff like that, where you has like this weird like alien skull that you could see through its skin, and it's just so cool and kind of kinky at the same time to look at. HR Geiger was a fucking freak.
Yeah, the mere fact that the xenomorph is based on drawings from H.R. Geiger just makes it that much more compelling. If whether you're a fan of Geiger's art or not, it's very striking artwork. Obviously, very futuristic biomech. He's got a lot of biomech themes in his artwork, but yeah, I'm right there with Derek. I absolutely adore the xenomorph. One of the most not just effective creature designs, but terrifying. Like if you see this 8-foot monster standing in front of you, you're gonna shit yourself. I
Yeah,
think most normal people would.
plus it also works on like dark settings too, especially like that scene where Dallas is going through the tunnels and all of a sudden he
Mhm.
turns his light and then just jumps at him. It's like certain scenes like that where it's effective because you kind of see it, but then you don't at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. Just the way that the original Alien was shot like a slasher in space just adds to that sense of menace that the xenomorph brought to the table. And don't forget, folks, the original Alien just had the one xenomorph. And obviously, with future entries in the franchise, they kind of up the numbers of xenomorphs and face huggers that appear in the movie. But with the original, all we needed was one face hugger and one xenomorph, and it was just so incredibly effective, just easily an absolute classic design. So yeah, I totally agree with that one. All right, Don, why don't you come on in here with your number 5 creature design?
All right. Well, mine, it's probably going to be a little bit more basic towards the front end, but I did manage to sneak in two kind of out there choices for 4 and 5. I wouldn't say that this is a unique design, but it's just one that always kind of means the most to me. And it's kind of a sentimental choice. It was one that I had to sneak in there just, because of that. And I went with the Yimmer from 20 Million Miles to Earth. Um,
Nice.
yeah, I don't remember if if you guys are familiar with it, but I believe I mentioned on the episode when we covered it that it was my first Ray Harryhausen.
Mm-hmm.
So that was an endless source of joy in my formative years being exposed to him. Because of that, I've always had a little bit of an affinity for the creature. I mean, we talked about it in the show. He may not necessarily be, all that evil or vicious, but it's more just, the amount of sympathy you feel for him. And the design kind of echoes that. I mean, he kind of has that, otherworldly look to him where you don't quite know if if he's like genuinely evil or vicious, or if it's just he's just doing what he needs to do and humanity just gets in the way. But I've always kind of appreciated the design. It's kind of like a humanoid ape with like a lizardy texture and the long whipping tail, but he's just always worked for me. And I can make a case for maybe better Harryhausen designs, but this is the one that means the most to me sentimentally. So number 5 for me is the Yimmer from 20 Million Miles to Earth.
Yeah, absolutely great choice. And to see an early Harryhausen design like that and how it kind of lays the groundwork for what we're going to get from Harryhausen moving forward. I mean, one of my honorable mentions, which obviously we'll talk about later, is actually another Harryhausen creation. That's the Kraken from the original Clash of the Titans. I adore that design. A design that we've actually seen Harryhausen borrow from one of his other creatures that we talked about on this show. But just the introduction of the Kraken in that movie it basically cemented my love of Harryhausen at a very, very young age. So glad to hear Mr. Harryhausen mentioned on this one. All right, so let's get into it. For me, number 5, I'm going to be coming in a little bit more modern with this one. We're coming in with 2006. This is one of only 2 foreign creatures that I have on my list. I mean, anybody who knows anything about us can probably guess what the other one is, but I'll keep that one under my hat for now. So, coming in from 2006, this is my favorite director of all time, regardless of genre. And that is, of course, Mr. Guillermo del Toro. So, of course, that would imply 2006's Pan's Labyrinth. And the creature in question is not the fawn, but it is the pale man. So my number 5 is the pale man. The first time I saw the pale man as a full ass grown adult, I was goddamn terrified. Something about his eyes being inside of his hand, him not being able to see unless he's holding his hands up, the loose skin, the amazingly creepy walk, of course, brought to us by Doug Jones, one of the world's premier creature actors, who also played the fawn in that movie, of course. So he got double duty in that one. But yeah, man, the pale man, that entire scene with the pale man, even though he's only in the movie for, and that's another thing, is the fact that he's only in the movie for one scene, yet he left that much of an impression on me that I couldn't keep him off of this list.
I got the Funko Pop of him from you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I got that one too. Absolutely. And, I couldn't keep my favorite director off this list. He's made some amazing creatures. Some of his creatures from the Hellboy movies, some obviously Pan's Labyrinth. I mean, he's done some great, great stuff. And there was no way I was going to keep him off this list. So very happily, I am able to put the Pale Man from Guillermo del Toro's Pan's Labyrinth at number 5. So there you go. We've got all our number 5s out of the way. So let's go ahead and go back around to Derek. Derek, what is your number 4 favorite creature design?
It's actually a movie we also covered on this show. It's the Gill Man from The Creature from the Black Lagoon. One of my favorite essential viewings as a child. Just the look of him, like, that's the best look of him from the original era, besides like maybe the Monster Squad, because later on they like got more like weird looking with him, especially in the underwater scenes. I love the original design, like especially in the underwater scenes where his eyes are like hollowed out, dark. It kind of reminds me of that speech from Quint from Jaws, like a doll's eyes, when he's talking Julie Adams on the water. It's a great scene, and just the imagery with the Henry Mancini music. It's a classic design from that era, and I still love it to this day.
Absolutely. Yep. Another honorable mention for me, the Gilly, as those of us who love him call him. But yeah, and I totally agree about the Monster Squad. The Monster Squad Gillman is one of the most terrifying versions of the Gillman ever. I mean, obviously the original is stellar, way, way ahead of its time. Just the articulation that they were able to get in that suit so long ago. And then we get the Monster Squad in the late 80s that gives us, like I said, one of the more terrifying versions of Gilly ever. It made me endlessly happy. And yes, I'm very happy to see the Gill Man get mentioned here. So, Don, you're number 4.
All right. Well, this one will probably be a little off the beaten path. But for those that know me it kind of combines two of my biggest pleasures. And I wouldn't necessarily say guilty pleasures, but two absolute obsessions with my genre watching. And this is whatever the fuck kind of a great white shark we get from Zom 100.
I love it.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell that thing is, but goddamn do I love it.
I just call him the walking shark.
That's not a bad idea. For those that haven't seen it, it's a massive great white shark that's been infected with a zombie virus. So its flesh is rotting. There's pieces falling off of him. There's, massive holes rotted through. You see like the inner organs of the skeleton and, all that kind of, neat stuff. But then the underside of the body is what can I only describe as centipede-like human feet protruding from the stomach and allows the creature to walk around on dry land.
I didn't actually see this movie yet, but that kind of sounds like something that they must have been fans of Junto Ito when they were making that, because that sounds like Gaio.
I wouldn't put it past them.
It's such an effective scene too when we first get him, because we see the shark eat about a half dozen zombies, and then suddenly their legs start poking out of the shark's belly, giving him his own set of legs. It is an epic scene.
You're gonna have to check that out. It's been on
Oh,
my
it's a
watch
great
list.
movie too. Actually surprised you haven't checked it out yet. I believe it was in my top 10 for that year because I love the relationship of the two main characters in that one. It just makes me just endlessly happy to watch the
Yeah, maybe
Zom
I'll watch
100.
tonight. Maybe I'll review it on the next episode. No More Room in Hell. I'll let you know
Oh,
how I
do it.
feel.
Do it. I can't
I mean,
imagine
maybe
you'll be unhappy with it.
maybe not tonight because it's a 2 hour movie, but
It is a long
Maybe
one.
I'm off. I'm out early tomorrow, so maybe tomorrow I'll watch it.
yeah, it's probably would be a little smarter. But
There you go. Yeah,
yeah,
the East Coast guys.
yeah, I was gonna say, but the combination of sharks and zombies, two of my favorite genres, can't go wrong. So yeah, number four for me is the zombified shark thingy from Zom 100.
Hey, I got
Yeah,
a weird
yeah.
one for the next one, so it's all good, man.
Nice. All right. So for me, my number four. Now, this one might be my most contentious pick because we never technically see the true form of this creature. We see it in various states of mutation, but we never actually get to see its true form, which is probably part of the mystery of the movie. But of course, this my number four is going to be John Carpenter's The Thing from 1982. Now, like I said, I can already hear some people groaning because of the fact that yes, we don't actually get a true form of the Thing. Every time we see the Thing in the movie, it's either in the visage of the person that it has is starting to control. Of course, there's that first time that we see it with the dog and the split head. We get the we get the walking severed head, the crab head, if you will. There are so many amazing forms of this creature. It's hard to pick a favorite, in all honesty.
Yeah, that's the only thing that was tough about me leaving it because it's actually not on my list. It's like a honorable mention
Yeah, and it
because
almost was for me too.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
just because of the fact because it copies like aliens and other creatures from other planets that it's been to too, which makes it even harder.
No, absolutely. Like I said, I struggled with this one, but because of, like I said, my love of every form of this creature, my love of the film, the way that the film ends with the mystery of if one of our last two survivors is actually currently in possession of the thing. Just everything about the movie and the creature itself works, and definitely worth mentioning the original. Obviously, the original isn't nearly as complex as what we get from John Carpenter. The original, I tend to call him a walking turnip because he's basically vegetable.
Carrot monster.
Yeah, he's more vegetable than flesh. So, but considering the year, the fact that that movie is from the mid 50s and what they were able to do with some of the effects in that movie also makes it worth mentioning. But yeah, like I said, my number four is solidly John Carpenter's The Thing. And you can pick whatever form of the thing you want if you need to put a picture in your head because they're all amazing.
Speaking of forms,
All right, Derek, you're number three, my friend.
okay, this is going to be a wild one because this one is from a movie from 1956. It's the baby version of Rodan from Rodan.
Wow.
I just think that's like the most terrifying version of Rodan because of the situation where it's actually probably one of the best scenes of the movie too, where the main character gets his memory back while this egg is hatching in his hand. And it goes to this terrifying scene of seeing this giant pterodactyl being born and eating the bugs that was killing all his friends. It kind of it's like one of the best scenes of the movie, and the baby road you can see like it's a baby, like it legitimately looks like a baby version of Rodan. It's so kind of cute and terrifying at the same time. It's a great scene, and it's stuck with me the longest from my childhood.
Nice. What movie does he appear in again?
Rodan, the
Oh,
original.
in the original Rodan. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
It's been so long since I've seen that one. My God, that was like 1956, right?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, I'll have to revisit that one. It's been so long, but yeah, I vaguely like I had to go online and look up pictures of Baby Rodan because it didn't pop into my head when you said it. But yeah, I totally agree. Derek's right. This is a fun and terrifying design for a baby what pterodactyl, I guess you
Yeah,
want to
and
say.
plus he's eating like the little megalodons in it too, and they're like so
Exactly.
tiny compared to him.
Awesome. All right. So let's go to Don with Don's number three favorite creature design.
All right. Well, this one I'm going to kind of cheat just a little, only in the sense that I don't have a definitive movie in mind. I mean, I can probably name one for you if you give me the chance, but I couldn't quite nail one definitive movie down, so I'm not going to do so. But instead, I'm going to say for my number three, I'm going with werewolf.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean they're one of my favorite subgenres. I do enjoy a good werewolf movie, but I don't quite have a definitive one. I don't have a definitive version because I'm much more of humanoid wolf, not wolf man, and I make the distinction between the two. Lon Chaney Jr., Paul Naschy, people like that, those are wolf man. I mean werewolf. So
Mhm.
The Howling, Dog Soldiers, Bad Moon. I do enjoy the few scenes that we get of it in Cabin in the Woods, but because he's not summoned and he's not part of the main film as a whole, can't quite count that as a werewolf movie. But stuff like that where feral rabid dogs on two legs, that's more my thing. Not, oh, well, we're just gonna, stick a small little pug nose snout on somebody and stick fangs in their mouth and call it a werewolf. No, I mean werewolf, not wolfman. So
Nice.
yeah, I mean, like I said, not that I didn't want to cheat on something like this, but I couldn't nail one down because I do have issues, ironically enough, with every single one out there. I don't have like one definitive one that I can pin down and say, okay, that's the werewolf that's my favorite. But
Mhm.
yeah, I'm gonna just go ahead and just blanket statement and say number three, werewolf.
Hey, I respect it, man. Like I get a lot of
Yeah.
shit because I'm like one of the one guys that likes the werewolf designs in late phases, and it's like because they look more like giant like goblins. It's kind of crazy.
No, yeah, absolutely. Hell, I mean, even the werewolves in the recent Werewolves movie from what last year, I guess, which, was just an okay movie, but it had some great werewolf designs in there. I personally tend to lean towards American Werewolf, but that's more because of the quality of the film more than necessarily the quality of the end product after the transformation. Because he's very wolf like in that one. He's on all fours. He's feral, blah, blah, blah. He doesn't look humanoid in any way, shape, or form. But just because of my love for that movie, I tend to lean towards that one. Dog Soldiers is another favorite. Bad Moon is one that I like the way that the werewolf looks. I've just always hated the transformation in that movie. And I used to be kind of a stickler for the transformation in werewolf movies. Like I used to live and die by the transformation scene. But obviously, over the years, and especially since we've been doing this show and we've talked about a couple of different werewolf movies here, I realized that the transformation isn't always vital. You can have a
Yeah,
good werewolf movie without a stellar
that,
transformation. So I've kind of warmed up to Bad Moon over the years. Obviously,
yeah,
the dog in Bad Moon is great. We all love him.
yeah. The one thing about Bad Moon, I'm like, especially like I said, you had to get that Scream Factory Blu-ray because they actually have the director's cut where it deletes most of that transformation scene.
Oh, that might be fun. I'll have to check that out. That
Yeah, like
sounds
it
cool.
has like the beginning of it, but it deletes like most of the CGI shit.
Oh, that's yeah. See, that's where I have the biggest issue with that transformation. It's funny because I really like that movie. I like the family. I like the kid and the dog, the mom. Like I like that movie a lot. But like I said, because in my younger years I put so much stock into the transformation scene, Bad Moon like never even came close to my top 10. Obviously, I've warmed up to it over the years, like I said earlier, and I still don't know if it would be in my top 10 now. I'd have to actually make a werewolf top 10, which I don't have one, but if I did, I would be
That'd be
very
a
curious
future
to
fun
see.
show.
Oh, hey, there you go. Favorite werewolves. So yeah, I'm right there with Don. I don't necessarily have a favorite werewolf design so much as I have a favorite werewolf movie. So I just tend to lean towards that one, even though, like we already said, it's probably the least Wolfman or, bipedal werewolf out there, since, he basically just looks like a giant evil dog. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the devil dog design. It always worked for me. Yeah, exactly. All right. And it's funny that Don mentions Cabin in the Woods too, because I actually contemplated having a Cabin in the Woods creature on
Merman.
my list. What's that? No, not the merman. The one that always struck me was Hell Lord, which was basically the Pinhead ripoff.
Oh, that was cool too. Yeah.
Oh, I love the way with his black eyes and those saw blades going through his head. Like, just every time I watch Cabin in the Woods,
they missed out really making like graphic novel prequels with all those characters.
Hell yeah, just start making movies. I mean, you can make a whole cinematic universe. I mean, you've already have one. I mean, obviously they don't have to be prequels because of the end of Cabin in the Woods, but that's a discussion for another show. But yeah, like I said, I almost cheated and picked the Cabin in the Woods creature, but I'm glad I didn't, for whatever it's worth. But yeah. Okay, so that means we're back up to me. And for me, it's pretty simple. It's the Brundlefly from The Fly. Jeff Goldblum's
Must go faster.
transformation into the Fly is one of the most painful, visceral, goriest. I mean, the final transformation from human to Brundlefly is the stuff of absolute nightmares. The way that he eats his food, like, very much like a fly, like that scene is just, it's a little stomach churning. When we actually see him do it in practice against, what's his face that breaks into his apartment, just, oh my God.
John Getz.
But and it's not just the final form. It's like all the way through the movie. Like once Jeff Goldblum starts to deteriorate and his skin starts getting blotchy and his teeth start falling out and his nails are falling out, like it's kind of like Shin Godzilla, where I like all the different stages, getting to that final form. And then once we get to that final form, like I said, it's just absolute nightmare inducing. So yeah, my number 3 is the Brundlefly.
Imagine the fucking, if Brundlefly fought fucking Shin Godzilla.
Wouldn't be a fair fight, I don't think. It would be the boot and the ant type situation. Maybe if they were closer in size, that would be pretty fun.
That's the whole thing. They get the Honey I Shrunk the Kids machine and make him big.
So a giant, a 300-foot Brundlefly versus Godzilla. All right, I like it. I'm on board. I will definitely pitch in for that Kickstarter. Absolutely. All right, folks. So we're into the top 2. So let's go ahead and get into it. Derek, come in here with your second favorite creature design.
Oh, man. This was my number 1 for years till recently. It's Pumpkinhead from Pumpkinhead, the original. Stan Winston directed. Man, I just love how you see like little bits and pieces of him in that like cold open. But then later on, you get like all the backstory with like the witch and going to the pumpkin patch to pick up the carcass, and it becomes the actual demon itself. It's such a cool fucking design too. And when he's just laying down, fucking putting in work, and plus it's like, and there's like that one creepy scene where he has Lance Hendrickson's face on him.
Yeah, that's one thing I really praise about that movie is the fact that Pumpkinhead, his look evolves as the movie goes along. He looks more and more like our star as the movie goes along, up until the very end, where it almost seems like he's just literally wearing Lance Hendrickson's face. So yeah, that's literally Stan Winston's only movie that he's directed, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Besides,
So,
I think he did also Michael Jackson's Ghost, the music video
oh,
movie.
gotcha.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, for a one-time director, he made a splash. I mean, the movie itself, as far as its storytelling and its acting and stuff like that, may not be, 10 out of 10 masterpiece, but goddamn if the Pumpkinhead design isn't stellar. Very, almost reminiscent of a xenomorph, maybe with less tendrils and no tail, but yeah, the Pumpkinhead is pretty spectacular. And what's funny is that I've been clamoring for a Pumpkinhead Funko Pop for years. I've been saying, how does Pumpkinhead not have a Funko Pop? And finally, earlier this year, Funko released two different versions of Pumpkinhead. One where he's his natural color, and then another one where he's like blue, from like the moonlight shining on him. So
yeah,
yeah, I'm very
yeah,
happy that they finally came out with those.
yeah. Fun fact too: it's actually Tom Woodruff in the actual suit. He also played the Gill Man in the Monster Squad.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah, so it's pretty awesome.
Absolutely. All right, Don, let's get you in here with your number 2 favorite creature design.
All right. Well, this one may be kind of a shock just because, well, I mean, I'll just come right out and say it. Number 2 is Godzilla. And I mean, we can go for hours about which one do you want, which one counts, which one doesn't. I can practically wax lyrical about every design out there with, no prep time whatsoever. I can list what I like and don't like about each one. It's just Godzilla. I mean, the guy on his own, regardless of what he looks like, he's just awesome. And for being as important as he is to my life, as impactful as he is to the type of person I am, where my movie tastes lie, I really can't find fault with anything out there. I mean, just as a blanket statement, I'm just going to go ahead and say number 2, Godzilla.
I'm actually okay with that. I struggled with picking a Godzilla myself. I actually contemplated just saying Godzilla, just like you did, but I just wanted to be a little more specific, only because the one that I did end up picking comes from my favorite Heisei era Godzilla movie, and it's also the only Godzilla that I have tattooed on my sexy body. So yeah, obviously I do have a favorite, but we'll get to that when we get to it. But yeah, Don's number 2 being Godzilla, absolutely solid pick. You can never go wrong with Big G.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, this one will be quick because we've already talked about it. My second favorite creature design is the Xenomorph from Alien. In any other world, this would be my number 1. I mean, just so terrifying, so effective. The fact that there's no CGI in the original movie, at least, the fact that it's a guy in a suit, a guy that went missing right after the movie was made. So sadly, we may never know what happened to him, but um,
They actually shot him out of space.
I believe it. They shot him out of the airlock. So yeah, he's floating around in space as a solid ice block somewhere. But yeah, I mean, we already kind of gushed over the Xenomorph. Amazing design by H.R. Geiger. Beautiful, the way that Ridley Scott and his design team was able to put it into effect, with the walking scenes and the kind of, jumping out of the darkness, like Derek mentioned earlier. It's so effective. So yeah, just to not get too long-winded about it, yeah, my number 2 is going to be the Xenomorph. So with that, we are up to our number 1 picks. But before we do that, let's talk about some honorable mentions that we want to bring up. Some creature designs that didn't quite make our top 5, but that we feel should still be brought up in this conversation. So once again, I'll turn it over to Derek. And Derek, what honorable mentions do you have?
Ymir from 20 million miles to Earth. Definitely a big one for me. I have a Ymir figure. It's definitely a top 10 creature feature for me. And creature design too. I love that design since I was a kid. It was actually hard to keep them off the list. And sadly, from a lot of my co-hosts, I actually did not include Godzilla on this list. So Godzilla is an honorable mention for me, just because I went with some like uniquer designs for like my favorites. And Godzilla, he's a lizard. He's definitely a top 6, 10 creature design, but he's a lizard with 10, depending on which version you watch, he's kind of like a tagpole in Shin Godzilla when he first starts. But 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 I love him. Like it was hard to me to just to pick him, and it was like maybe I'll save him for another list down the road. You never know. We actually do top 5 Godzilla designs maybe one day.
Yeah.
That sounds like a fun design. It was just too hard for me to pick one. That's why he's an honorable mention, because I could just do the fucking top 5 Godzilla. I could just make this all Godzilla designs, to be honest with you. The Gravoids from Tremors, I love. It's unique. Like it's kind of basic, but it's kind of crazy looking, especially when you think these little worms are coming out of the dirt, but then it's really just part of like this bigger giant organism. I love that movie for passion, and yeah, that's about it for me.
Nice.
For honorable
Awesome.
mentions.
All right. Don, you got any honorable mentions you want to bring up?
The main ones for me, I enjoy the Xenomorph, but I've always preferred the Queen. So that's why I've never said much.
Gotcha.
Xenomorphs, they're okay. I mean, the design looks amazing, but I've always been more of a Queen person. So the Alien Queen for me is one. I'm surprised none of us brought up King Kong.
Well, he's kind of just a giant ape,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I actually struggled with King Kong yesterday as I was finalizing my list, but
to be honest, some of my favorite movies with King Kong in them, like King Kong Escapes, he looks like shit.
that's true.
Well, that's why he's not like on the list proper, but still somebody that I think should just be brought up just because he is the granddad of everything.
Oh yeah.
As an honorable mention, I'm fine with that. I'll say the Redosaurus from Beast from 20,000 Fathoms.
Nice.
And finally, one of my all-time favorites. I love this guy, although I love the personality more than I love the design itself. Anguirus. So,
nice. We like our friendly kaijus.
Yeah.
Flashbacks to my childhood when I'm seeing Mega Godzilla rip his jaw open.
Oh, don't remind us of that. All right. So for me, honorable mentions, I've pretty much already mentioned most of my honorable mentions. We already talked about the Gill Man. Absolutely. From the classic era is going to be my, honorable mention from there. Derek talked about Pumpkinhead. Pumpkinhead's on my honorable mentions. Absolutely love Stan Winston's design and what he was able to do, with the practical effects in that one. I mentioned the Kraken from the original Clash of the Titans. I had to have Harryhausen on here. I mean, how can you not have him on here? It's just one of those creatures that's always worked for me. I mean, from the first time that you see him in the original Clash of the Titans, just so menacing, so terrifying looking. And I just prefer that version of the Kraken, because a lot of other versions of the Kraken, they basically just make it a giant squid, which is what a true Kraken actually is. It is basically a giant squid. So I understand why they go for that design, since, nature already took care of the creature design for that one. But what Harryhausen was able to do with his Kraken, giving it arms, making it bipedal, or at least I think it was bipedal. We never actually see its legs because it's in the water the whole time. We probably see more of the Kraken from the remake, from the Clash of the Titans remake from whatever year that was. But and then the only honorable mention that we haven't mentioned so far, and this is a very personal one. Anybody who knows me knows I am a Lovecraft fan. I adore all things Lovecraftian. Yes, the author himself was, maybe not the nicest person, and maybe some of his beliefs go against more, modern mentalities, but ultimately I absolutely love the man. So the creature, of course, is Cthulhu from Underwater, the Kristen Stewart movie. I just remember seeing that the first time, having no idea what we were getting into, and that first image of Cthulhu as the camera pans out. I mean, I'm not exaggerating. I may have sprung an erection at that point. Just I absolutely love cinematic interpretations of Lovecraftian creatures, elder gods, anything of the sort. So when that surprise appeared at the end of Underwater, it just worked for me. I had an ear to ear grin the whole rest of that day after seeing that movie the first time. And of course, I did end up buying the 4K because how could I not? I am a Lovecraftian fan. I am literally a member of the H.P. Lovecraft Historical Society, which is based out here in California. Literally, we get together and play the Call of Cthulhu RPG, the role playing game, which is, I'm not really much of an RPG player. I tend to more just kind of go and watch the other people play. But yeah, out here in Glendale, California, we have the H.P. Lovecraft Historical Society. They have a website. So, go ahead and check that out. They have a gift shop, they have lots of gifts, blah, 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 blah. So, it makes sense that I have to have at least. I almost went with Dagon from the movie Dagon, but we don't really see Dagon in all of its glory. We see more of like the kind of underlings, exactly, the fish people. If we would have seen a good, full on shot of Dagon in that one, I might have gone with that one. But like I said, my last honorable mention is Cthulhu from Underwater. So this is it, folks. We got to our number one picks, and let's go ahead and turn it over to Derek to hear his number one favorite creature design of all time. Take it away, Derek.
All right, my number one is the monster of Shrek Mother's Mamagon from Godzilla versus Gigan. I'm just fucking kidding.
I didn't know how to react.
I was looking that up earlier. That's why I wrote it down in my notes with an LOL. So I was like, I might use this as a joke number one. But yeah, it's Moder from The Ritual. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Moder almost made it on my list.
Oh, so good.
Oh, that design is terrifying. The fact that it looks like an elk and a bear had a baby, and then they started to swallow a human and then quit halfway through, so its body is just hanging out of the front. Just that design is so twisted. Like, I want to meet the person who came up with that design, because I'm sure that would be a really interesting conversation.
Just a backlord it's like a child of Loki.
Exactly.
It's like, and it's actually this funny picture where it's like the Tom Hiddleston Loki holding it in his hand as a baby.
Oh, that's cute.
That's a movie I want to see.
Right. The upbringing of Moder. That would be cool. Awesome. All right. So great selection for number one. So let's go ahead and turn it over to our friend Don. Don, what is your number one favorite creature design?
All right. Well, my number one, I can't say I'm disappointed in the films that he's been in, but I can say that the majority of the times that he's in there, he's usually the highlight. Number one for me is King Ghidorah.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, a three-headed space dragon. That's just cool. that hits so many fun, just design choices, the execution, the way it performs, just being such a total dick whenever he's in the movies. I love him. Yeah, kind of an easy one for me. Number one, King Ghidorah.
I love King Ghidorah too.
One of the best cinematic villains ever. Just great design, great effectiveness, his abilities, powers, and
the
even
gravity
the evolution.
beam.
I mean, the evolution of his look. I mean, we end up with Mecha King Ghidorah, eventually, which was also a great looking design. Yeah, I can't disagree with King Ghidorah. An awesome choice. All right, so for me, as you've seen from my list, I was telling the guys before we actually started recording that my list is very basic bitch. I'm sorry, but the creature designs on my list are the ones that have affected me the most. They are the ones that have stayed with me the longest, the ones that I want to see over and over again. Like the Xenomorph, even when they put out bad alien movies, I still want to see them because of how much I love the Xenomorph. Yes, I'll sit through Alien Resurrection. I don't care.
Half
So,
alien, half human thing was fucking creepy when I was a kid.
absolutely, yeah. And then the more modern hybrid that almost looks like an engineer was interesting in Alien Romulus and the
That's
most
why I loved
recent one.
Romulus is they went full like the resurrection and like covered every part of the franchise in that movie.
Exactly, big time. So yeah, and we actually are getting a sequel, which is actually called Alien Romulus 2. Go figure. Rather than giving it a new subtitle, we're going to continue with that timeline. So that should be fun. But my number one, as anybody who knows me, and it's not going to be a surprise to anybody, but my number one, even though I can admit that this isn't necessarily the most innovative creature design ever, the most original creature design ever, but it is the one that has affected me the most. Like Don mentioned earlier, he's been a part of all of our lives for so long that I couldn't possibly have something besides our friend Big G at number one, but I did want to pick one specifically. I've got many, many favorites. Obviously, the original Tokyo SOS has a spectacular. I love the zombie eyes that they gave Godzilla for Tokyo SOS. But the one that I am going with is the one that is tattooed on my left arm. It is the Godzilla movie that left me in tears the first time I saw it. And that is, of course, Godzilla versus Destoroyah from 1995. And my number one creature design is Burning Godzilla. I fucking love Burning Godzilla. From the first time I saw it, which was probably, I think, probably like 2 to 3 years after it originally released in Japan, was the first time I saw it. Like I literally knew I was going to get it tattooed on me, even as a young kid, just out of high school. It's like, oh, that's going to get tattooed on me one day. There's just no way it's not. And of course, it is now on my left bicep. So very happy with that one, done by Mr. Mark Durant out here in California. A fairly big name out here in the tattooing world, maybe not outside of California so much, but and also an old friend of mine. So yeah, Burning Godzilla, like I said, one of the only Godzilla movies, one of, mind you, the OG still does it to me. But yeah, just the emotions of Godzilla versus Destoroyah to actually see, and spoiler alert, sorry, to actually see the original Godzilla die with Godzilla Jr. standing right next to him. Yeah,
Yeah.
it floored me. And the music that's playing in the background, just everything about that scene is just an emotional roller coaster. And then, the reemergence of Godzilla as Godzilla Jr. kind of takes the reins as the new Godzilla. It works for me. And anytime I see a collectible of Burning Godzilla, be it a Funko Pop, a Gentle Giant statue, a Bandai toy, whatever the case may be, if I see a Burning Godzilla, I am buying it because I love that design so much. I also do like the Burning Godzilla from the first Godzilla Kong movie, but just that original one from 1995 just did so much for me. So yeah, number one creature design for me, even though like I said, objectively, it's not the best creature design ever. It's not the most innovative or the most original, but it's the one that's affected me the most throughout, the 56 years that I've been on this planet. So yeah, Burning Godzilla at number one. Looks like we're just about done with our list. What'd you guys think?
Wow, that
Not
was
bad, yeah.
last.
It does my heart good to see that you guys also had some more kind of general picks, Godzilla, Xenomorph, stuff like that, because I was so worried that you guys were going to come in with some just ultra obscure creatures that maybe I've never even seen the movies for. But obviously, working with you guys on Underwater Kaiju from Outer Space, and then now 4.5 years of creature comforts, it's definitely expanded my knowledge of the subgenre, and not just with kaijus, but with just creatures overall. So I was very glad to see that you guys had a lot of the same selections that I had. And I guess that's going to do it for episode 50. So, any thoughts on our first 50 episodes before we get out of here? Derek, why don't you go?
It's been a hell of a journey, and I hope it continues, man.
Yeah, I mean, I got to say, we are literally, even Fresh Cuts, which is one of the easier shows that we record, but we are the only show on the No More Room in Hell family that's never missed a month. And I take that as a point of pride, you know?
It's not Jinx Sunday. Knock on wood.
Yeah, no jinx. But yeah, it's just, like I said, it's a point of pride for me to be able to say that we've never missed a month. We almost missed 1 month, but Don and I were able to pull an audible and get an episode out anyway. So, you know, it definitely makes me proud that we're on a steady pace, and we're literally only 25 episodes behind the main show at this point. The main show is about 5 years older than Creature Comforts, but we're catching up in numbers. So again, makes me very proud to say that we don't miss episodes. We're consistent. You guys can count on us for an episode every month. Obviously, this month, the month of May, you're getting 2 because our April episode was a little late, but at least we did get it out there. So, again,
it makes them feel better. We did record it in April.
Oh, absolutely. We always record it on time. It's just a matter of when it comes out.
Yeah.
Sometimes our network head isn't real good with communication, and he'll end up sitting on an episode that I sent them like 5 days ago, and he still hasn't uploaded it. You know, again, I'm not bitching necessarily because the man does have a family. He's got kids. He's got a full-time job.
Yeah, you gotta work, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Like the podcasting network isn't his main priority by any stretch. So, and we still love him to death because obviously after Horrorphilia kind of broke down, you know, he kind of was able to save some of the Horrorphilia podcasts, including our own. So thank you. Don, anything you want to say about our first 50 episodes together before we get out of here?
50 years and I still haven't gotten my customary blowjob yet? What the fuck, guys?
I only give handies.
Well, that makes sense.
I get Motor to give you a handy with those two little hands. Yes.
Oh God. Oh yeah, with the human hands in front. Oh, gross.
But yeah, no. In all seriousness, yeah, it was such a fun time to get together and continue this after Underwater Kaiju. Yeah, I couldn't have picked better guys to do this with, just to share my love of one of the best genres out there. So thanks everybody for listening. And yeah, thanks you guys for letting me be a part of this.
Yeah, and we'll go back to our regular review movies next month, and it's Don's pick.
And I do believe we will be celebrating Kai June. I'm not sure if Don has actually selected his movie yet, but it's actually Don's pick.
We are.
So do you want to tell the folks, or do you want to keep it under your hat for now?
Of course, yeah. It's always fun to, give everybody a little bit of a heads up. Yeah, we are actually going to go back to the beginning, and we are going to discuss something that came up tonight. We are going to be discussing 1956's Rodan.
Nice.
Baby Rodan.
Awesome. That's good. That's perfect.
It was picked long before you decided to bring it up, but yeah, we're going with that.
I actually pulled out my DVD, my old Timeless Classic DVD with War of the Gargantuans because I was doing some spring cleaning. So
I've got that one too.
Nice. Maybe I might need to pick up the original Rodan because I don't own it. And I would, obviously I'm a fan of special features, so who knows? Maybe I'll pick it up before our episode. But yeah, there you go, folks. 1956's Rodan on Creature Comforts episode 51 coming next month in Kai June. So with all of that having been said, I want to give a very, very heartfelt thank you to the listeners, whether you're new, whether you've been with us the whole 50 episodes, whether you've just been with us for episodes here and there, when you're more interested in the movie that we're talking about. We appreciate all of you taking the time to listen to our stuff. The few of you that have hit us up on social media and even with YouTube comments, because all our podcasts are also available on YouTube, so you can check them out there. But again, thank you all so much. You have no idea how great it makes me feel to know that, we're plugging away with this podcast. We're always putting out an episode every month, and hopefully that's appreciated by the listeners, because I know all three of us appreciate all of you taking the time to listen to us. So again, before Don or Derek starts to make me cry, let's just say I am Mr. Venom, and on behalf of Derek B and Don Anelli, this has been No More Room in Hell presents Creature Comforts episode 50. Thank you all so much for joining us, and we'll see you next month for Rodan. So let's go ahead and say bye to the folks.
Bye, and beware of Mama God, the monster of strict mothers.
Later.
Take care, folks. We'll see you next month.